Welcome back. We are continuing our conversation with Mr. Mayor Bob Bruchey, and we want to get into topics such as the quality of life in Hagerstown, as well as public safety issues. And for our first question, Ron, I'd like to give it to you.
Mayor, you've had some unique thoughts on private-public partnerships. Maybe some of the things we're doing downtown, the extensive work that's on the forefront to start almost immediately. I seen borings taken a couple of weeks ago. So explain a little bit about those private-public partnerships that you've been promoting.
Well, you know what? I can't give the county enough thanks for bringing this project, this urban improvement project, to our core. We're trying to think of a really cool name for it. We don't have anything cool like the 3 R's, but you know, we could call it, you know, you can continue with the Urban Improvement Project, the, you know, UIP, or you could call it the DIP, the Downtown Improvement Project. Both of them are terrible, so we're actually trying to come up with something cool. But you know, you have in this public-private partnership, you have the county, you have the city, you have the state, you have the Maryland Theater, you have the University of Maryland, you have the BISFA School, and you have the Hager 5. Yes. Which is the real private portion of this. So you know, it's imperative that again that we not be the detriment in this mix. Okay, we don't want to be the bad apple in this good apple.
You want to make it work,
right? So you know, we're going, which is another thing we've promised to do some things. We've signed an MOU, and you know, one of those is to make sure things happen in a timely fashion. You know, permits, inspections, all those things, waive all permit inspection fees, do all that kind of stuff, which we do for most educational entities anyway. So, you know, so it's very important that we have this mix of people coming together. I just, like I said, I just signed the MOU yesterday, and it was 9 different MOUs that I had to sign. Okay, that's how many people are on board. So, you know, we just like again, we don't want to be the ones who spoil it. Okay, and we're not going to be. All right, we've committed $1.5 million to this project. We're the only ones who have actually put money in. We put in $500,000 already, real money. You know, budget season's coming up for us, and it's going to be tight and it's going to be ugly. But you know, this is we're committed to this because we know what it can do for the expansion of the USMH and the expansion of BISFA and the expansion of the Maryland Theater. You know, the plaza in the back, all that stuff, you know, all that stuff adds to our quality of life. So it's important that we continue to work very hard on this project. But you know, there's others. You know, when I left office in 2012, I left the next administration coming in with a $1.5 million surplus. Now they used that surplus to create the First Third Grant Program, which has been highly successful, without a doubt. Okay, great program. We give them accolades for that. But they ran out of money fast because it was such a success. Well, they never funded that program again. Now again, tight budget season this year, some cuts are going to have to be made, but we're going to fund that program again. Because if we can fund it to the tune of $1.5 million a year over, you know, for the next 3 years, we could probably accomplish 16 to 18 projects in the core, all right, which will really be a game changer for us. So we're focused on doing that. And don't get me wrong, we have money. We have money in our reserve fund, our general reserve, you know, fund that we can do to fund this. That you know, and sometimes people at 1 East Franklin Street forget that's the people's money. Right. Let's if we're going to spend the people's money, let's spend it wisely. Let's get a return on that investment. And so it's very important that we do those kind of things.
Quick question for you before I toss it to the rest of the team. I had heard in the State of the City about education as being the theme of downtown, or I guess the notion of education being the theme of downtown.
It's always been that.
Do you agree with that?
It's always been that. Listen, when I lobbied and fought and was the, for lack of a better word, the bastard child of Washington County, back when the University of Maryland was chosen to go downtown, my vision back then in 1999 was to make all of Washington Street an education hub, and that was it. I drew it on the back of a napkin at the Broad Axe when I was meeting with one of the EDC guys. back then it was Howard.
John Howard.
John Howard. I've always envisioned education to be a big player in the core. And then you're going to have those businesses that help to support education. You realize you can't get a copy made in downtown anywhere. Nowhere. A copy.
Yep.
You got to go to Copy Quick. It's the closest one. All right. Why don't we have a copy service in the core? We have attorneys and judges. We have all kinds of professional people who need that service, but we don't. That's not offered in the core.
Since you don't have roadways, runways, and railways to talk about, why don't you go to Arts, Entertainment, and Educational District?
There you go.
I'd rather leave it the A&E district the way it is. That's how it was envisioned.
Why not
all
add
those years
education
ago.
to it?
Why have to?
Why not?
Because it's already going to be there. It's going to be prominent, Ron. You're going to see education. You don't need to add
You can
education
see arts
to the name.
too.
Yeah.
You can see
talk about
entertainment.
seeing arts. Don't. I know where you're going there. Don't stop that now.
All right,
Stop
well,
it.
let's
Stop
switch gears. Colin, did you have anything you wanted
it.
to add?
Stop.
I do. So, and there's a couple of different points I think to tie together. And I know from somebody that I know very closely that was in the running for city office, this was a question that came up very often. I'm noticing a lot of sidewalks being replaced downtown, which is good because one thing I enjoy about living in Hagerstown is the fact that I can walk literally from my house downtown, go to restaurants and everything else. And despite what the opinion of the crime rate and everything may
Right.
be, I've never had an issue.
Right.
But how does that sidewalk improvement tie into, and again, taking this from the paradigm of having talked to some of the concerned citizens, it's not, and there's no easy solution to this, but there's a perception of blight. So how does that improvement tie into somehow rolling back this perception of blight that some folks may have?
Well, keep in mind that the work that you've been seeing going on, especially in the downtown area and as it moves out, are ADA compliant requirements. Okay. State of Maryland doing a lot of them on Franklin, Washington, Burhans, all state routes. We have a program every year that that we replace so many curb cuts and things like that for ADA requirements, and that is that's legislation that we have to adhere to. So you're not seeing complete sidewalks replaced and things like that right now.
I think the added benefit, though, is it does make the corridor leading to downtown a lot more appealing.
But does, yeah. I don't argue that. The problem with sidewalks is a 200-year-old problem. Okay, I found a paper in my last administration in the archives that the city of Hagerstown sent a business owner who had a wooden sidewalk back in the old days when it was wooden sidewalks that he had to replace the sidewalk. Okay, that's how long this has been going on. I'm going to bring back my sidewalk program that I offered up in 2009 and try it again. And that would be for you as a city resident and you would probably see something like a $10 to $15 charge on your water bill every quarter. Mm-hmm. All right. So that means you would spend maybe $40 to $60 a year toward this sidewalk program. All right, but you would never have to worry about your sidewalk ever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a worthwhile investment.
I tell you, in front of my house, it would cost me $1,800, $2,000. So for me to pay $60, I'm not going to live that long. Right. So I mean, so someone else is going to reap the benefit of that for me. But and here's the fair part about it. The question's been raised: what's a tax? Well, actually, it's not a tax. Okay, because if it was a tax, then nonprofits wouldn't have to pay it, like churches and things like that. But because everybody pays a water bill in the city of Hagerstown, that makes it fair to everybody, and everybody gets a benefit from it.
Well, I'm not sure it's a tax. It's more like an investment in infrastructure, which everybody benefits from as well.
We had this argument back in 2009 with our city attorney, and very, very great guy, very conservative guy. He said, it's a tax.
Isn't it a user fee?
That's what I said. But that doesn't matter. And we had an argument about that. And the argument was that, I said, hey, we charge for trash collection on our water bill. And he said, well, that's different. it's a fund, and he said it's an enterprise fund. I said, no, it's not, because that money goes into the general fund. He said, but it's still an enterprise. I said, it can't be an enterprise fund if it goes into the general fund.
Why can't
You're
you
wrong.
put it in an enterprise fund?
You could. I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I think
You know?
you'll have some support from some of the panel members on that one.
I think I will too. Yeah, and I think I'll get citizen support.
Exactly.
Ken?
All right, let's shift to one of my favorite topics, baseball.
Okay.
So we almost lost the Suns. All right, but I think they're maybe here to stay now. What's the status of the Suns staying in Hagerstown, and what's the status of the stadium?
We still have a 2-year lease with the Suns, the city of Hagerstown and Hagerstown Suns, for the 17 and 18 seasons. So that gives us a little bit of time, and we got to use that time to figure out a long-term plan. Now, whether or not we build a new stadium, or we don't build a new stadium, or we rehab municipal stadium, or you know, Mr. Elshire, he wants to tear down municipal stadium and put an indoor soccer facility there, which again costs money. You know, let's come up with a solution. And as I said yesterday in the State of the City, the point is that the Nationals want to be in this area,
Right.
because it's convenient for them. All right, it's convenient for their player development. You have Potomac and Harrisburg and places that are about an hour and a half out. You have, of course, the home of the Nationals major league team, an hour and a half out. So we're in the right area for them geographically. They don't care much for the stadium, which I don't blame them. But you know, we're here geographically. We're in the right place. So one of the things that I will go back to, and Ron knows about this, I can go back to legislation passed in 2000, where a lot of us went down and lobbied the state to raise the hotel motel tax by 3 cents. Okay, doubling the hotel motel tax. Our state delegation at that point in time did the worst they could have done, which was to put all these requirements in this piece of legislation about building a new facility. And in the meantime, until any of these things happen, the county would control these funds. They would, you know, go toward tourism, economic development, all that kind of stuff. So basically, since 2000, the county has probably spent anywhere in the area, probably about $20 million.
Yeah.
$20 million could build a heck of a stadium, okay, or at least be that stepping stone
Right.
forward. But the point is that currently there's about 1.3, 1.4 million a year that we could realize from that if that designated money came back to doing some kind of multi-use facility, which could be a stadium and an indoor soccer facility connected to it or something. I mean,
Right.
you know, but if we don't get that funding, then I think we're hard pressed to get any funding.
Right.
What's
And
the
that we already addressed all those issues and all those requirements in 2012.
what's
should
the
went after it then.
overall feeling from the current council on the investment that would be involved to renovate the stadium?
We have not talked about it at all, period, as of yet.
Okay.
We will, but we haven't done it yet. Because, you know, we'll have to come up with for a lease extension again, probably January of 18 at the very least.
Okay.
We'll make probably October of 17, probably this year in October. So, I mean, it's definitely going to come up. Listen, we do a lot for the Hagerstown Suns, the city of Hagerstown does. They pay us $35,000 a year in a lease payment. We put that money back into the facility for upgrades, plus more.
And how old's the facility?
The facility is only 87 years old.
Only.
It was built in 1930.
It's aged very well for
Yes.
87 years.
Yeah, I hope I look that good when I'm 87.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I want to make sure that we also touch on some public safety
Sure,
issues.
most definitely.
Okay, so when we come back, we'll be talking about public safety. Stay with us.